She made a mistake in a class game and got a tickling punishment. What happened next will shock you, so make sure to watch till the very end. In the freezing cold of Ohio, beneath the old gym of St. Thomas Academy, there was a hidden room. Inside were 7 chairs, but only 6 were occupied. On the 7th chair sat an old doll. Emily knew today was her turn. She knew that losing this game didn't mean just teasing. It meant facing memories she had been suppressing for years. Emily, Liam, Sophia, Noah, and Olivia were sitting in a circle. Liam, the most mischievous student in school, explained the rules. The game was called the truth detector. Emily had to solve a riddle. If she answered incorrectly, her punishment would be the tickling machine. Liam asked, "Emily, what was the one thing you were searching for in your mother's wardrobe but never found?" Emily froze. Tears filled her eyes. She lied and said, "I was just looking for my old sweater." "Wrong answer," Liam shouted. Everyone yelled together, "Punishment! Punishment!" Sophia and Olivia seated Emily on a tall chair and tied her hands above her head. The punishment was tickling torture. They began tickling the soles of her feet with feathers. At first, Emily burst into uncontrollable laughter. Her laughter echoed through the entire room. She screamed, "Please stop. Liam, this isn't funny." But Liam increased the intensity. Emily's body twisted as she laughed helplessly. She was exhausted, yet unable to stop laughing. Suddenly, through the laughter, Emily screamed, "The letter! I was looking for the letter my father wrote before he died." The room went silent. The tickling stopped. Emily was gasping for breath, tears of laughter and pain streaming down her face. Liam pulled an old, yellowed envelope from his pocket. He said, "Emily, we knew you wouldn't tell the truth. That's why we created this game. That letter wasn't in your mother's wardrobe. It was with my father." Emily's breath caught. Olivia slowly untied her hands. With trembling fingers, Emily took the letter. It revealed that her father hadn't left behind a treasure, but a truth. Beneath the school was an old tunnel that led directly to the city's main museum. But the real thrill was still to come. Suddenly, the gym door above slammed shut. Heavy footsteps echoed outside. They panicked. Liam turned on a flashlight, but its beam began to fade. Then the doll on the 7th chair suddenly fell to the floor. A recorder inside it started playing. It was Emily's father's voice. "Emily, if you're hearing this, it means you completed the punishment and told the truth. Run. There is no tunnel. This is a trap." Water began seeping through the walls. This wasn't an ordinary room. It was an old water tank once used for punishment. Liam and Noah tried to force the door open, but it was locked from the outside. Emily examined the letter again. On the back was a map. She shouted, "The way out isn't up, it's down." Through the old drain pipe. Holding hands, they jumped into the narrow, dark pipe. The water rushed violently, like a terrifying roller coaster ride. After nearly 10 minutes in darkness, they emerged beside an old lake. They were soaked, exhausted, but alive. Emily clutched the letter to her chest. She realized her father hadn't just shown her a way out. He had taught her courage. As they turned back toward the school, police cars were already parked near the gym. Someone had trapped them there to make them disappear. When Emily looked at the letter again, she noticed a final line she hadn't seen before. "The punishment isn't over. The second part of the game begins tomorrow." Their souls trembled. This wasn't a class game. It was something far more dangerous. The next day, the school atmosphere felt completely different. The police investigated, but when they reached the basement, there was no water, no ropes, and no doll. Everything was spotless, as if nothing had ever happened. Principal Miller called all 5 of them into his office. His eyes were cold and lifeless. He looked at Emily and asked, "Emily, what were you all doing on school grounds last night?" Emily tried to speak, but her eyes fell on the desk. Lying there was the same black velvet blindfold used on her the night before. Her throat went dry. She looked at Liam. His face had gone pale. She said nothing. That afternoon, Emily found a note in her locker. "Tonight at 12 a.m., school library. Come alone. If anyone else comes, the entire class will face the punishment." Emily had no choice. She quietly entered the library that night. The silence was so deep she could hear her own heartbeat. Suddenly, a light flashed in the corner. On a table were 5 laptops. On each screen was a live video of her friends, Liam, Sophia, Noah, and Olivia. They were tied up in their bedrooms. Tape covered their mouths. A deep, Mechanical voice echoed through the speakers. Round 2. The sacrifice. The voice continued. Emily, to save your friends, you must correct another mistake. 3 years ago, when the school lab caught fire, you saw who started it. You stayed silent. Today, you must say the name, or every 5 minutes, one friend will receive electric tickling shocks to their feet until they can no longer breathe. Olivia's face appeared on the screen. She was crying. Suddenly, the machine under her feet activated. She laughed and screamed in agony. Emily screamed, "Stop! Turn it off!" Emily remembered the truth. 3 years ago, she had seen a man in a jacket leaving the lab. She never told anyone because it was her brother, Cooper. He was drunk. It was an accident. But Cooper had died in a car crash a year earlier. So who was doing this? Through tears, Emily shouted, "It was Cooper. My brother started the fire. I lied to protect him." Shocking reveal, the face behind the mask. As soon as she spoke the truth, the library lights turned on. Applause echoed behind her. Emily turned around. It wasn't a stranger. It was Liam, holding a remote. On the screens, the others began laughing and untied themselves. Emily was stunned. It was all a setup. Liam stepped forward and showed his phone. It was recording. He said, "Emily, we just needed your confession. My father went to prison because everyone thought he started the fire. Now he'll be proven innocent." Suddenly, the library doors locked automatically. Fear filled Liam's face. "I didn't lock the doors," he shouted. From behind the tall bookshelves, a shadow emerged. It was Principal Miller. He held the same old diary that once belonged to Emily's father. With a cold smile, Miller said, "Well done, children. You made my job easy." Liam got the confession. Emily confirmed the truth. "But you both forgot one thing." He tore a page from the diary and burned it. "That lab fire destroyed the file, proving my corruption. I sent Cooper there, and I made sure he was silenced. Now that you know the truth, it's time for the grand finale." Smoke began filling the ceiling. Miller escaped, sealing the entire section. Emily remembered her father's last words. "Look down." She ripped up the carpet. Beneath it was a wooden hatch. The hidden tunnel. The 5 friends escaped through it just as the library burned behind them. Liam's phone contained Miller's recorded confession. The next morning, as the sun rose over the Ohio hills, Principal Miller was in handcuffs. Emily sat by the lake and let the letter drift away in the water. The game was over. But as she turned to leave, her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Well played, Emily. But do you really think Cooper died in that car accident? Look behind you." Emily turned around. On the distant road stood a man in a black jacket. He raised his hand, just like Cooper. Then he vanished into the fog. And before the video ends, if you're new to the channel, please like the video and subscribe. Thank you.